Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me just like every Thursday, we have Digger Jim right below me. Jim, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great.
And of course, we're going to have a new Thursday regular joining us for a little bit, and that is Mr. Chuck Hensey. How you doing, Chuck?
Doing great. Happy summer to everybody.
Oh, yeah. Always a pleasure to have you gents on. And of course, so the theme of tonight's episode is military comics. And there's only one person I wanted for this. It's my buddy Pocan Joe. Guys, one, I love having Joe on the channel. Two, he's a good dude. Three, he's got the background, so he can speak to it. And he's got the collection, so I know he could go digging. Charge him $5 for that, not me. But without further ado, of course, our guest of the hour is none other than Pocan Joe. And Joe, always a pleasure to have you, sir. Always an honor.
Always happy to be here. Happy to be here. Got a little flag. We're ready to go.
I love his hat.
Now, give me a quick 2 minutes.
In honor tonight.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yeah, in honor for tonight, we got Armed Forces Brewing Company. That's a company. And we got drinking their IPA tonight.
All right.
Now, are IPAs your favorite? Because I'm a lager guy. I like lagers.
I'm just a borderline alcoholic. It don't really
Oh,
matter.
right. Did you see that little video I sent to the usual suspects today? You should make one like that.
I should.
Oh, but anyway, Joe, the quick 2 minutes, who you are, what your channels are about, and
Oh, sure. So yeah, my name is Pocan Joe, or Joe Pocan, however you want to pronounce it. I have 2 channels here on YouTube. One where I do a weekly comic book review and keep all my nerd comments and unboxings and stuff like that on there over at Pocan Joe Comic Book Review. And then I have a second channel where it's more of a maker's channel where people in our glorious community here on YouTube kind of throw suggestions, or I listen to your show and I hear you mention certain things, and then we try to make it in some way, shape, or form out in my own personal evil lair, and then we send it to them. We just say here, and we send it to them. So yeah, we have a lot of fun with that. So if you like making things and you want to nerd out a little bit, we got you covered.
and, yeah, you put fun little animations in there, and you show some oopsies.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should.
awesome music too. I don't know where you get that music from, but that's insane.
But let's say hi to our chat, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to start. And I'm excited to see what books you brought.
Yeah,
Just because I've seen some of what you have, and so there's some things I'm expecting, but I know you're going to surprise us as well.
yeah.
But first, and as always, James, how you doing tonight, sir? Las Cruces, Ruby G, White Tiger, Cool Calm Collected. Visit his Instagram and get your own sketch card made by him. All right, and then we have one of my all-time favorite people, Jerry the Jitterbug. Yeah, Mr. Steve White saying this is going to be awesome, and yes, it is. We have Phil's Treehouse. Good evening, Phil. Great to see you. W. Boggs, how you doing tonight, sir? Nice to see you. I saw you having a great time with everybody.
That dude is super cool to meet.
The next guy just launched his YouTube channel, so if you're watching us, go sub him up. And that is at Ben Parker Comics on YouTube. Good evening, Ben. So, guys, he's one of the nicest people in our community, one of the greatest people in our community, just an all-around nice guy. Go sub him up. Give him a successful launch to his YouTube channel. He deserves it. He's always putting goodwill out there, and he deserves all the goodwill back.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Another one of my favorite people, Anachronic Comics. Joe, how you doing tonight, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. TJ, Flash by Night. Good evening, TJ. Nice to see you. Living his best life with all the Transformers comics lately.
Man, he's got to be loving
Right?
it. He absolutely has to be loving it.
Oh, yeah. And, of course, the king of FOC and chill without the FOC, Marcus himself, Circumstances, who put out a spectacular con video, which everybody should go check out.
Yeah.
The way he edited that was brilliant.
Yeah, that's
well
a 10
done.
out of 10. That might be my favorite right now. Just how he does that stop picture right there. You know,
Oh, yeah, it was great. I was like so impressed by that video.
Yeah.
And he's got a good narrating voice, Marcus.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then, of course, the great community artist, Mr. 23 Munch. How you doing tonight, sir? I actually have his red Sony he sent me right over there, just out of reach, but beautiful little piece. And such a great community. And there we go. Thanks, homies. So people are still getting the notifications as they pop in. I'm not gonna interrupt you because I don't like to interrupt our guests, but I will give a quick tip of the hat to them. But Joe, let's get back to you, man. Start us out with something fun. What have you got, buddy?
All right. So one comic book I know I've shown on here already, but I have to show it again because it creeps my wife out every time I pull this book out. Like it brings tears to her eyes. It's probably one of the saddest war covers you will ever see in your life.
You should show it every episode that you're on.
I have to, man. It's
Knows
our army.
what it is already.
Right? It's our Army at War number 207. Again, this is the Joe Kubert cover.
Yeah.
It's just, the very definition of two types of soldiers, right? The guy that freezes and the guy that's like, if you're going to pray, just shoot. And you kind of get that both effect in there. And just the absolute loss of hope in that dude's face is something else. So,
I was gonna say the art on that is next level. Just the expression and the way he captured a moment.
Yeah, and just you can tell he's not the biggest guy in the unit. You can tell like he's just a guy that's there in war. And these other guys around him are like, great, but you got to fight. And if you actually read this issue, the cover, the story becomes even more heartbreaking. So it's definitely right up there when it comes to military covers. This book is so important to me. It's one of the few books I have slabbed. I do not keep or collect slabs, but this I just felt like something that I just need to preserve.
Is that available to read digitally?
I'm not sure actually. I'll have to look
it up just to get the story.
Yeah,
so it's Sergeant Rock. What number?
It's actually Our Army at War number 207.
Oh, Our Army at War 207.
And Sergeant Rock is just a character in this particular.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's the.
I mean, you've mentioned it enough. I just want to read it and see and just experience it.
It is something. It's next level stuff. It's proof that comic books are not for little kids. I'll put it that way. Even then,
and proof that different mediums can be used effectively to convey emotion and situations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So next, this was going to go down a little farther on my list, but this is kind of a 3-in-1. I apologize for that, but I wanted to show off something that somebody gave me one time. Apparently, this random dude on YouTube found out that I was a G.I. Joe fan, and I really liked that 80s, early 90s, that very small window of G.I. Joe where it was truly, truly unique. And somebody found something that I never heard of or seen before, and I was absolutely just memorized that they gave it. And then when I cracked them open and took a look, they still had the 3D glasses in them. So, of course, I'm talking about from Gary Comics himself.
Cool. You wrote me in on that one, Joe.
Sent me these 3 books right here, and it was something that I was not expecting. I very rarely expect any type of unboxing videos, or I don't do much of them. I don't expect things from the community. I just like being a member of it, and to sit there and go, I bet you Joe doesn't have this. Didn't even ask, just sent it to him, and sure as shit, I was like, I've never seen this before. And to have G.I. Joe in 3D, it's even cooler.
And would you believe I found the second set of them?
Oh, second set? It's only a 6-issue run.
Yeah, so I mean, those are hard to find, and I got another set, and those are going to Steve White, the other G.I. Joe guy I know.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, who doesn't like that cover right there? Come on, So
yeah, beautiful.
That's number 9.
Number 2.
I'm counting back. I'm counting down.
Gotcha.
Okay.
You didn't expect him to do the normal way.
I was like, man, he's been hitting that IPA really good.
He's going back.
Backwards, that's when you know I've been hitting it good.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I would be remiss if I didn't actually show my favorite comic book in my whole collection. And, of course, that's just G.I. Joe number 1.
Yeah.
Right? I think we kind of all expected this from me. And the argument could be made, hey, we thought we were seeing like military covers, but and if you ever met Larry Hama and you talk to him about this book and you find out that these characters are kind of loosely based off people that he knows or associates with, not just in his time in the military, but also, he's a member of the American Legion, the VA Comic Com. He's a VFW member. Yeah, these are just personalities from people that he just made cooler, right, inside of a comic book, and I always love that. I want to see that. So, and this has
gives accessibility to a younger audience.
Yeah, it really does, right? And then I've always preached this, and it's just a little what we do on the review channel. If you want to, I always liked GI Joe, and not to sound like a typical college student today, but I've always pointed at that as if you wanted to see diversity in comic books, right? That's a thing. All you need to do is pick up a GI Joe comic book,
right?
Race, religion, color, and now even in the new issue where we have Scarlet, where Scarlet and Jinx are apparently a couple, that just makes sense, right? Because these people do exist in the military.
Yeah.
So,
right.
It just screams what it should be and what it is. And I always found that to be a fantastic representation of it. Doesn't matter who you are, it's what you can do and if we can work together. And GI Joe has always been a fine example of that.
Right, team first.
So there's my intellectual rabbit hole.
Hey, everyone loves, there's certain covers you don't get sick of seeing, right? I like ASM 300, I get sick of seeing. GI Joe #1 is just great. For me, ROM #1, can't see it enough. Micronauts #1, absolutely love it.
Right.
It's just, there's certain covers.
Here's another one that I know people see at Comic Cons and they maybe don't get a close enough look at it, or maybe they just kind of pass it over. But this is actually Superman #216.
Yes, that's a great cover.
Oh man. I don't know if you've seen this thing up close, but Superman is a member of the military in this particular story. And there's this kind of weird enemy soldier who's made of steel. He's super huge, super big, right? Your stereotype. But what they did, or your trope, I should say, what they did in here is they kind of made it like a more of a faction of war, right? What happens when a couple of guys have to fight a tank? And basically Superman in this one, he's kind of equally matched in strength with this guy. So it's just that dirt military speech that he gets in here that makes him just kind of push just a little bit more past those that, what would we say? Give me one more push up in the military. That, you're not dead yet. You can do one more, right? So seeing that and hearing that in the story and
a little deeper.
Boom. Aces.
And one of the great things about it is you hold it up there, you talk about the idea of the fog of war and the great use of the grays they have there on that cover to see him emerging from it just makes it even more powerful as Superman gets ready to gear up to take him on. So
it's a fantastic story as well. I absolutely love it. By the way, I should say I've read every comic book I'm showing you all today. So if you have questions about the story, I'm happy to answer those in the chat. Whatever you guys need.
Well, there you go. You just made me bid on my second Superman book ever. First Joe, then you. 2 Joes. Erotic Comic Joe, and then Pocan Joe.
Nice. So, as a lot of my Golden Age friends out there know, I'm a huge collector of Ranger comics. And Ranger comics was a specific by Fiction House back in the day. It was a great run. But when I told my wife I was kind of collecting these, she thought she would surprise me one day. So she went to a comic book store and it's like, my husband collects Ranger comics, or Rangers, the comic is what she said. And so I sold her a couple issues of this. And one of these I really particularly like, even though it's not Ranger comics, it's just Rangers, a comic.
Oh, nice. But it's the thought that counts, Joe.
I'll tell you right now, this was a happy mistake because it's from 1953.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the onslaught of the Rangers as an organization, still relatively young.
Right.
There's also a particular character in here.
See, there's a lot going on in that cover.
We got G.I. Jane.
Wow.
Oh.
Suicide Smith?
Yeah. So yeah, you got just like in a Ranger unit, you always have a lot of going on. It's organized chaos at the end of the day. So,
Yeah, that's a fantastic cover.
Mhm.
love
Look
this.
at he's blowing up the bridge as this guy's getting ready to, and he's shot that other guy.
Yeah, just popped off one guy. Got a guy coming up behind him. His buddy's a little busy.
Oh, the only thing that cover's missing is Chuck Norris.
Right.
Love this.
Delta Force.
Yeah. Where's Delta Force?
Let's see here. Another book that I always like. There was like a push during the golden age of comic books where you started seeing a lot of younger characters kind of take on these more adult roles, and the whole lesson behind that is, hey, at some point you got to grow up and you got to learn like honor, duty, things along those lines. And a great comic book that kind of always promoted this was Boy Commandos. So this is issue 10. This is from 1945. And this particular issue is not a key in itself, just the fact that it's in this condition and that old.
Right.
But again, the whole concept of them was, a guy teaching what, a dad should teach and things like that to kind of get these kids over various hurdles in a ridiculous situation. But I always like anytime they have a group, they always got the fat short kid.
Right. There's no helmet on him either. You notice that?
They always got the kid to do the truffle shuffle, huh?
Yeah.
Right. Bright ass red hat. Yeah.
I think I figure if he gets hit, it's okay. No one's gonna. Yeah.
And
Ben says that looks clean.
it was such a great comic book series in the Golden Age. I had to check it out again in the Silver Age. I'm sure we've all seen this. But basically, still same concept. They just brought it back and updated it a little bit.
And still a cool cover.
Yeah. So this is from 1973. It's Kirby.
I wonder if
Those
he's
kids
trying
are
to be
screwed,
like,
man. They got flames behind them and guns in front of them.
Yeah, right.
I wonder if they got the one kid trying to be like, what is it, Dum Dum Dugan or something?
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of getting from him. Yeah,
never wore the outfit. Just you knew he was in the military, but he never looked like any of the Captain America's people.
Yeah.
You make that amalgam universe thing, the Boy Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
All right, just for a little bit of ridiculousness, because if there's one thing about soldiers in the field, I don't care what branch you're in, I don't care if you were on a boat, it's always there's always this kind of weird sense of humor, right? And it sounds ridiculous in some cases. So I saw this at Heroes Con and I was like, I got to have this one cover. And this is Doll Man issue number 45 from 1953. And it's just so ridiculous. I couldn't help but buy it.
Wow.
Like, you have legit
What's that supposed to be? Like a minigun?
No,
There's
it's
a
Doll
pistol,
Man
isn't
and
it?
Doll Lady. And
What are they
they're shooting a
contributing
handgun.
exactly to this? I mean,
I don't. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I couldn't help but laugh looking at it. Because you have your standard trope here, right? The guy storming the beach, dressed in all green, jumping around.
Right.
And then, I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
you have all that seriousness, and then you have them.
Yeah.
you have them down
With a cigarette lighter.
Did anybody tell her that barrel's going to heat up pretty quick?
Yeah.
Apparently not. She learned quick, though, I bet.
Hey,
my
he was
God.
smart. He put her at the end of it, at least, right?
Right? That's what I was like. What did they hold? How did they holding that up? It's I don't know.
I
Joe
think we
Anaconic
overthought
says,
that
great
already.
Doll Man cover. He never saw that one.
Right? All right, so I have to go on to my new favorite thing to collect. I got 3 new ones. I've shared some of these, not these particular ones, but I've shared this issue before. What we call these now, we have a name for these now, right? We call them Smiley Kill covers.
Oh gosh.
And it's just a guy living his best life, doing what he loves, right?
Murdering.
Murder.
Okay.
Murder and killing. So we have, from the Golden Age, we have G.I. Joe number 13. All these are from 1951 to 1952. And if you just look at that dude's face,
He's having a grand old time.
He's high as a kite.
Shooting that. I think I'm just gonna kill some people tonight. Yeah.
taking out the issue.
How many drugs did they give him going into that? I mean,
Yeah.
really?
No.
Well, it's not just this one. I got 3 of them for you.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
This
I got
is my new
CDs.
favorite thing. Here's number 24, the same year. Look at this. That is not a guy in combat. That is just a guy living his best life.
Fine young
He's
sociopath.
fisting the grenade there. Threw one. He's got one ready to go.
One ready to go. This is my favorite one so far. I swear, this is great. It's like F you and take your friend back.
I'm about to suplex him.
He kind of looks like Doc Savage.
He does a little bit.
there, yeah.
It almost gives me a Schwarzenegger Last Action Hero vibe, you know.
I agree.
I like what is it? White Tiger's comment there. Killing's the bee's knees. That's probably accurate.
Killing's the bee's knees.
So yeah, those are very very
And
special.
Joe was asking if that was supposed to be G.I. Joe.
Yeah, it was just G.I. Joe before G.I. Joe, I think was the case. They were just his name. It's not G.I. Joe as a unit. His name is
Crackhead
G.I.
Joe.
Joe. Yeah. General Infantry Joe. Yeah.
A little bit off his rocker Joe.
Yeah.
Before he got the 70s beard and everything and darkened his hair and went up against robots. So
Yeah, I just put those down as murder comics,
Yeah.
murder covers.
Happy kill. Pew pew. If I had my animations. Pew pew.
Now, do you also, before we get to the next book, because you're such a Joe fan, did you collect the old when they were like doll size, those Joes?
No.
When they had like the cloth? Okay. I didn't know if you were like that deep into it.
No, I remember, in the age I collect the 80s ones, but to say collect is highly insulting. I destroyed every toy I have ever had.
Yeah, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yeah. Like I've put them on bottle rockets, strapped them behind cars.
Yeah. I mean,
electrocuted them.
Yeah. We'd set up like remember the little green ones that you'd get like 25 for like $1 or something. They were like that, just plastic. You'd set them all up and then put M80s and stuff and go, okay, we're at war. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot there. So one with I think I'm on the personal story now. I got 2 more. Where are we at?
Oh, I had you at 9. I counted those murder covers all as one.
Oh, okay.
Okay, no, we can go. It's whatever you want.
Okay.
I had like 50 covers in my 10-1-1. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, no, sorry, yeah.
I got
I'm
2
so
more.
used to people grouping stuff. I'm
just kind of rolling through these. So I got 2 more. This is the one with a little bit of story behind it. Again, I appreciate anything I get from the community. I really do. And this was something I was looking for. And I went to 2 Comic Cons to try to find it. Couldn't find it. And I was starting to get like, okay, I'm just not going to get it. It's just going to be one of those things I'm not going to get. And it's one of my favorite G.I. Joe villains of all time. Like Beachhead is my favorite G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Love him. Mm-hmm. Army Ranger, wears the Baklava, serious attitude, great leader, right? Can't argue it, right? On the villain side, I've always liked Firefly because he always seems more entrepreneurial. He's like, I'll work with you, but you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
This is going to be something
paranoid people knowing who he is.
Oh, a mercenary, man.
Yeah, right. I always liked him, but if you look at his little card in the back, like, old boy's got some legit, well, not legit, right, for a fictional character.
Right.
Like, he's got some legit creds in the back of his thing, kind of like Major Blood does too, right?
Right.
So, of course, this is Snake Eyes, Dead Game, issue 2 by John Jang. And just the detail he threw into that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like I was kind of, he's wearing, we call it a rack, right? All of his stuff. His rack out's kind of weird, but for the most part, I'm just like, oh man, if only we could dress up like that in the military.
Right.
And walk down the street.
And I've heard you talk about that cover before.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And then while I was at Heroes Con, I was like, so this book obviously came out before the G.I. Joe Classified character did, and I'm kind of wondering where exactly they got inspired to make
right.
It's almost identical.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he got a little kickback for that.
Maybe he did. I hope he did. And I really love the way they scarred him up and messed up his eye a little bit. That's part of his backstory. That's in canon. So yeah, that's super cool.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
It's
that.
so funny. There's so many characters on each side. And like you meet people that just like have like these oddball favorites.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's always amazed me. I do the same thing with Transformers, actually, surprising. Like I've always liked these kind of odd, like Beachcomber that just showed up in the latest Transformer comic book that came out. And like, right. I didn't think anybody, like, I had that toy. I thought it was a cool toy.
Right.
As a matter of fact, Beachhead rode around on him, right? Back when I was a kid. And I thought that was a thing. And then just kind of see these kind of oddball things and see that other people like these kind of oddball characters too. Like, not everybody's an Optimus Prime. Not everybody's a
Duke or Joe.
Yeah, right. Duke or whatever the generic characters are. And I think that screams credit to the way things were kind of made back then. It was like we have so much opportunity just to throw out all these different type of personalities. So now we can add in the cartoons and in the comic books, we can add personality conflicts, like a pacifist versus like a straight up soldier, or different types of leadership on the bad guy side. Or, you know, you
get the good writers that can really flesh out different personalities.
Yeah. And then how they all come together for, you know, whatever the purpose is. And I always thought that's what made my era, I'm going to put it that way, my era, your era of, you know, when you combine these mediums together, that's what truly made them unique. You had these personalities, and when you played with the toys, you added those personalities to it. And I always thought that was just smart.
Oh yeah, especially in the Marvel days, man. When they were doing all those licensed properties, like you read those comics, and when you saw the toy, the character was what you read in your head.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and Hama always talked about the fact that he had relatively carte blanche on what to do with the characters, and I think he wrote up a lot of the case file stuff on the back of the action figures. You know, he did a lot of the history and all of that stuff, which was, you know, which of course as a kid you read it because, you know, you watch the cartoon and there are 5 million people running around. But here you actually get to find out, you know, why I should care about Shipwreck besides the fact he's in every freaking episode, even though we're on land. So why is he in every episode? You know,
right?
You know, but we said the same thing about Aquaman and the Super Friends. So what can you say?
Touche.
Right?
Now the media version of these characters, Pocan, you know, how long is this war going to be? You got stormtroopers on one side, Joe's on the other. No one's hitting anybody.
Yeah,
who gets tired first and just calls it a day.
Just like, let's just grab a beer. Why are we fighting? Right? Like that's what always. Even as a kid watching the show and watching the conflict and thinking, after a while watching it, you can start predicting when the Cobra guy is going to jump out of the plane because he sees a missile coming.
Right.
Look out! It's from 20 miles away. Here it comes.
Yeah, it's always made me laugh. And I guess maybe, you know, at the time, you know, just like you had the comics code, you had a bunch of women.
As a kid, that always bothered me. I'm like, only vehicles get hit?
Yeah. You're never going to see any blood. You're never going to see any of that. Are you kidding me?
And then the movie comes along, and all of a sudden, Duke gets hit with a snake. And at first, we all think he's dead. And the point of the movie was to kill him. But they were like, nah, we can't do that.
Like, the main Joe, Yeah,
it's like the main guy. We can't kill him. All right, so my last book. And normally I just ramble on these things. We're rolling tonight. So
you're in the speed through.
Yeah. Apparently. Well, last time I went a little over, so I want to stay on point this time. My last book is a classic cover. It's the most patriotic thing I can think of. With 4th of July right around the Colonel. What's going on? Squirrel Wars. What a great name. And it's a relatively cheap book. And it's just proof that, you know, sometimes I don't know about this comic market and why things cost the way that they do, but I know you can get this book for $1. And it is a beautiful cover. And it's just, oh man, if I could get it tattooed, I would. And that's number 1. I absolutely love
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that is a great cover.
Is that new?
Nah, this is from the 90s, I believe.
Had to be, right? Dark Horse?
1995.
Yeah, Dark Horse, it would have been.
In the relaunch. Yeah.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
man, look at that cover.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, who's the initials down there on the bottom? Is it?
I'm not sure.
See it?
I started reading it, and again, I never look at the names of the writers or cover artist in it, so I really don't know. I'll have to look it up. I'll DM it to you, but unless somebody knows in the chat. But yeah, I see this book all the time when you go into the GI Joe dollar bins or $2 bins. This book is always in there, and I'm just like, how? Like, this is
Send me one, bro.
That's almost a movie poster worthy.
Yeah, I was going to say that looks like that. I don't know. I'm weird though, because you know what? I would slab that book just because it looks so beautiful.
One.
Yeah, it's number one.
Dark Horse number one. Ruben.
Yeah, and the Dark Horse one was actually a pretty solid run. Like it was legit good comic book run.
You know, Dark Horse has some great runs on things. The one thing I do like about Dark Horse is when they got a licensed property, they treated it with respect, not like Dynamite, who will get a licensed property and shit all over it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ortez has got it. He says it's
Frank Miller.
Frank Miller. That would make sense.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Well, it does explain a lot.
That wouldn't happen nowadays. He wouldn't do it that way. Not now.
Yeah, but that's the cover that should be homaged. Like,
right? Like you would think. Like it drives me crazy because the simplicity of it is what's great. A shadow, tattered flag. I know tons of veterans that have tattered flag tattoos.
Isn't that an homage? That's an homage to something else, though, isn't it? I seem to think.
I don't know. That's the first time I've ever seen
It's
that.
on the tip of my tongue here. I think it's an homage to something, but I couldn't.
Yeah. It may be.
It's Don't they have? Didn't Frank Miller have an image in Dark Knight Returns with Batman? I think he's wrapped in his cape though instead, but it looks something similar to that.
And it's tattered. Maybe. Could very well be. That would make sense.
Yeah, then he's probably just revisiting a style that was nice and easy for him because he was used to it.
Well, if it works, I mean,
I'll call it an homage. Definitely. Yeah. So yeah. Let me think. Is it an homage or right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, but still, it's fire.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not taking away from how good it is. It just.
Like I could see a Superman cover with Superman having the flag around.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you could definitely see that. But with it being, military covers again, a lot of my younger veteran friends, they all like that tattered flag, full sleeve thing going.
I'm sure.
It's like it looks pretty solid. I'm 47 years old. Me getting a tattoo now is just begging for attention. That's all.
Right. Now I was surprised you didn't have any with the famous one with the soldiers in the flag.
Yeah, the Iwo Jima one.
So I have the one for Virginia, and I have the American one. And I saw Flash by Night's and he showed his on there, and I was like, I'm going to let this one we'll put that over here for now.
Right.
We'll let the Marine use the Marine one, huh?
Yeah, well, that one is a very special one. Of course, I had to get the Virginia one, and I had to get the American one. I think I got those back at C2, E2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Okay. These are 4 different color trade dress of the G.I. Joe.
Wow.
Right. There's a red one, which I showed you, a blue one. Don't make me lie about the rest. But yeah.
And others.
And others.
And they're short, so that's great.
That's what you do when you don't know, but you want to sound smart, etc.
Hey, Paul. That's right. Just show your beer can again. It's got a good picture on the cover.
There you go.
So, Pocan Joe, do you? I know you showed a lot of Army stuff here. Do you collect comics with the other branches of the military too?
So, being retired military, right? That's kind of where my focus is. But so like fighting Army or fighting Marines or Wings or something like that, I don't really touch those comic books a whole lot. I have a few issues, but they're going to be like first appearance of Unknown Soldier, stuff like that. So they generally go into another themed box. This stuff is just stuff that, and I don't care what branch is on the cover, right? I'm not a fly boy. I don't do boats, right? It's not really my thing. But things that I can kind of relate to is kind of with my military box is kind of consistent. I think for you that don't know, if it's not making sense, I don't have like a standard comic book collection where I collect runs. I have several boxes that are all themed out. So it's like first time a villain showed up in a comic book, issue number 1. So I have a complete 80s, almost done 80s collection of first issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm coming down to your house to see that. When I come down, we're busting that box open.
It's almost done. I only have like a handful of other books. There may be some things I don't know, but for the most part,
I'm pretty sure all I have to do is bring him some beer, and he'll let me look at them.
Yeah, we sit around, drink beer, and look at comics.
Now, did you? Because it was like a golden age back then, right? You had the westerns, the military comics, but then you even had a mix with horror, like weird west, like weird war and stuff like
weird
that.
war.
And Creature Commandos, and did you like that kind of stuff too? When they took it more in a fantasy direction and mixed it with war.
I have the kind of mixture of reality and fantasy type stories for Western military. War, stuff like that. Howling Commandos. I love Howling Commandos. I just didn't feel that would fit with everything else that I had.
Oh, I was just like curious, just for conversation's sake.
So yeah, I have some of that stuff, and I do enjoy reading it. Like I'm just gonna tell people, like, I get collecting something, sealing it in some way, shape, or form, and putting it away and preserving it. I totally get that. I can comprehend that concept. But read it once. Oh my God, just read it once.
Yeah,
a comic from the golden age does not read like a comic book today. It is very different.
No.
And some of it may be slightly offensive, but that different time.
And the war books, they all have their own really unique feel to them, much more so than a lot of the other genres. Where you can read a Western, and so long as you take away the Wild West and everything, you're basically reading a superhero book a lot of times. But the war books have a much, much different feel as you pick them up and you read the stories and stuff.
Like the way that they tell people to get up and engage the enemy, right? Almost they all do this, right? The motivating factor to go fight the bad guys is some of the craziest shit to say to people, but it works. Like, right? Like,
I'd be.
You'll legit hear somebody in there be like, don't be a pansy,
Right.
Grab your gun, shoot, and then whatever slur was used back then.
Right.
And I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's right, but it is kind of it's a quick glimpse of where we've come, right? Regardless of who.
Well, everything's a time capsule of its, that's the cool part too. Like you can, me, I'm a big Robert E. Howard guy. There's some cringy language sometimes in some of those old stories. It is what it is.
And the way they flirt with women in this thing. Like I've heard women complain about catcalling, but in Virginia, even my time in the military, I don't remember any of me and my friends yelling at a woman saying something. I just something I didn't do, right? I was kind of weird to begin with. But like when you read these comic books and there's a couple of sailors on the dock and a woman comes walking by a day, like the compliments they threw was like, oh.
Is that compliments?
Those guys have been at sea for like, months. And they, back then they didn't have any women on the boat. So they're like, I'm sure there was a lot of stuff. It's a whole different thing, but
I think it's just, and I'm sure some women back then found it offensive. I'm sure some women found it charming or whatever.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's, and the aspect of in a military comic book, especially when a military guy's writing it, how to, and this is going to sound bad, but it's what they do, how they dehumanize the enemy.
Right.
Generally, a nickname starts.
Right.
That turns into a slur and then turns into a thing. But in a sense of combat, right, you're going to go kill a person. Well, how do you make that easier? You dehumanize that, the other side. And it gets a lot easier, a lot quicker.
Right. It's like a form of conditioning.
Right. Today, we don't do that anymore. We do our best to avoid casualties, to avoid needless death and things along those lines. But at the end of the day, right, like a body's got to drop.
Right.
Right. The body's got to drop. Them or me.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's not yours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, no, those are excellent, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew we were in for some for the crazy kill covers because I mean,
just
always a crazy kill cover.
Just picked them up, and I was like, and again, that's another one that's hard to find because they didn't do that type of cover on all the runs. There's 2 volumes of that Golden Age GI Joe, and they didn't do it for all of them. It was just like periodically they had this kind of painted cover on there.
Sure.
And I don't know what this artist was thinking. He's like,
why is he smiling?
with all the other ones, the guys are like super aggressive and mean looking and like bad things, and there may be some kind of controversial art on them. But then you got this guy, this blonde-headed guy, just woohoo!
Yeah.
Yep. Ben Parker, even Warner Brothers, dude. You cannot play Warner Brothers cartoons these days. Everybody would be upset and offended and want to burn everything down.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching those every single day of my life when I was a kid. But you watch them now, you're like, oh wow. But
but those were also created for adults too. They were not created for. They were not created for kids either. So I mean, you got to take.
Especially when you read the G.I. Joe series, the Golden Age series, you can immediately when you read that, you kind of get this sense, one, a military guy wrote it, because they don't explain abbreviations that they use in it, and they're very specific to the military. So like a sailor, a Joe, war dog, devil dog, whatever the case may be, they were probably the ones buying these and reading these in their downtime.
Right.
And it's like that's something to be said. Not everybody's got time to sit around and read a Stephen King book, right? You got a comic book, get a story, go to work.
Now, especially with some people I know that have been in the military, when they're out of the military, they're not diving into anything that reminds them of their time in it. Did you ever have any kind of issues with that with these kind of comics where you're like, I don't really know if I'm ready to read about this stuff? Or is it far enough placed in fiction where it doesn't really bother you?
Yeah, it's far enough placed in fiction. Like, I'll share something kind of weird I've never shared before. I don't like war movies. Just don't like it, right? Like, I don't watch Black Hawk Down.
Right.
Not in that particular one, but I was in that country during that time, right? Not interested, right?
Right.
I don't watch Band of Brothers. I don't watch documentaries about World War II or current battles or anything like that, because it's somebody else's experience and their perspective of showing that story. One, if I do relate to it, it's not going to be in the best situation for me. And I would rather remember my friends and kind of the good times and the crazy, weird sense of humor that I had back then and that they had as well. Because that was really if there was anything that I had to express to somebody about the military is, one, you don't know anything when you go in. You're not going to sign up and be a sniper. It's not a thing, right? You weren't born with this innate ability to be able to be a sniper. It's a taught skill, right? You're not an explosive experts because you blew up your dad's barn. You're not.
Not yet, but the second time you might be there.
Right. Even when I went through the Ranger Q course, I failed it twice.
Yeah.
Right. I had to go back a third time, right, to get through that. Right. And the only thing that keeps you kind of sane in these insane situations are you and the team that you can build, or whatever team you can build. You want to be successful in the military, you have a solid team. If you try to do it on your own, you're going to be that guy. Nobody likes that guy. Stay away from that guy. And the great thing about team is, just like in G.I. Joe, everybody has a role. Everybody has a personality.
Right.
Everybody's got a specialty. All you got to do is watch each other's backs and think about what you have to do to win. It's really all it is win.
Well, then I'm sure, sense of humor is always important, because you're in these situations and you got to find some kind of release. You got to have humor.
I've said this on my channel when we talk about these kind of things. Not that we talk about it a lot, because I don't want to depress people, but high tension, high jobs with a lot of life or death scenarios into it right? That becomes mundane after a while. And the problem that a lot of people have when they come back is they're used to this level. So the sense of humor gets dark at that level too.
Right.
And then when you come back and your life drops, doesn't mean that you automatically drop. You're still here. Your humor maybe should kind of bring that. Like I had to learn that. Right.
Right.
Right. Not tell certain jokes, not make fun of certain situations.
Right, but you can understand, like, you know, just a regular person like me can understand why that humor is necessary.
Yeah, that humor is always necessary. It's important.
It's part of survival.
If you're good at making teams in the military and bringing people together and creating that environment where you be different, but you can accomplish, you should be able to do that in the civilian world too, because it's the same concept, right? It's why I hang out in the comic book community, as weird as I am. And all the craziness that I can do, and I can disagree with people, but I think there's nobody in the community that would ever say Joey would do something bad, or if they DM me because they needed something, they know that I would do my best to help them. I don't think they should all know that I wouldn't say no.
Right.
And the same thing with the people teams I worked with in the military, people I work with at work, different companies that I work with. It's the same concept. Just be the guy that can do the thing, and you'll be okay.
Nice. Oh, good philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and even if you can't do the thing, fail spectacularly.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, be okay with failure. Failure's I fail all the time. Like, that's why I add bloopers to the Evil Lair videos.
Yeah.
Especially if there's some really good ones. Like, I grab something hot and the camera's rolling. Like, I'll always put that in there.
Right.
Like,
well, I think
that guy that does the electricity stuff and he electrocutes himself on purpose for laughs.
I know. Oh no, the boom guy. Yeah,
yeah,
that's hilarious. I love that.
I think that's important. You're doing those maker videos though, because people watch them and they're like, they go to try to do it and they're like, okay, you know, he didn't show any of that in his YouTube video. Why am I having this problem? You know, and it's just not realistic. You need to show it for what, if bad, you know, not bad, but issues can come up and you need to be able to adjust for them.
Or a change in plan. Like, I don't understand why people are like, they come out with these, like, I get the idea of a script. A script is more of a suggestion to me. Like, I know what I want to say in a video.
Yeah, a guideline.
Like, I'll be working on something like this last project I just finished for Cliff on Comics, right? Like, we changed it from shackles to a fiddle cuff, and then I was just going to make it out of straight wood, but then I had some stain, and I was like, really, what this stain's going to make it look so good, right? So, like, things change in a video.
Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
You know, and you know, I teach, and you know, you talk about failing every day. I know I fail every day. You know, it's kind of, you know, you just kind of keep going, and
just keep going.
And it's great that in your videos you show that stuff exploding, because you know there's nothing more frustrating than watching somebody trying to do a training and then not making any mistakes. And you know, it's like trying to construct something from IKEA and you know you're still on step 2 when you feel like you should be on step 12. And
I always like when you when you're playing with metal though and you're melting it, because just to get it to that high temperature in your garage,
in my forge,
it's just nuts.
Yeah, I can. Let's see, I can do all the way up to about, in that tiny forge that you see me that I use for blacksmithing, I can get up to about 3,000 degrees in there. And then the foundry that I actually have, with the 2 blasters going into it that I pour the things out of, I can get up to 5,000 degrees in there.
Wow.
And that's enough to make anything that I want. Like,
right.
I melted aluminum once with a makeshift one that I put together, and I thought, this is nuts. I'm going to burn the backyard down. Sarah came out there twice looking at me like, don't you burn the backyard down.
And the great thing about the Evil Lair project, it's just proof of it's actually the example of what I've been saying. The same thing I say about DIJs. It takes a team, right? So it looks like it's me in there, but you know, the idea came from somebody. And if there's a skill set that I don't have, right? I collect skill sets just as much as I collect comics, right?
Sure.
Luckily, I live in an area where I can just go and say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Your wife, Jigger Jim's wife, helped me out tremendously. Like, she's a jeweler. And I was like, there was something I was having a problem with. I couldn't comprehend. And I can't draw. And she just kind of took the time to understand what I was saying, what I was trying to fiddle with. And she was like, it's called this, and this is how you, she walked me through it. And I was like,
that'll be $20, Joe.
Right.
I rent you out, Joe. I rent you out cheap.
Right. In 24 monthly installments, right, Jim?
Yeah, 24 monthly installments.
I should also say, if we had to theme out the collection that I showed you today, regardless of the comic, even if it's the Dead Game one, right, or whatever the case may be, everything that I've said and talked about right now is a theme in all the stories and all of these. Even the Superman story, it's not just Superman by himself. There's actually a team of soldiers there that are kind of working him through this. So, again, not to make it weird, right? But if you're sad, mad, sad, right? You got three feelings: mad, sad, glad, right? Let's keep it simple, right? If you're mad or sad, you're probably alone. Be with somebody, build a team. If you're glad, you're generally around people. Very rarely, except for me, I'll stare at a wall and I'm happy, but I was tested.
I can relate to that. Some of my favorite moments are just when nothing's around me.
Around me. But I'll tell you what, even if you watch the Comic Heroes Con videos, right? All the best moments are when everybody's together at the meet or greet or at a diner or having a meal or having a couple of cocktails together. Or
get all that energy.
Right?
Yeah.
Feeding off of each other's energy. And I know his real name. I'm not sure how to pronounce Well, how do you pronounce his name?
Will?
Is it Will?
Are you talking about W. Voggs?
W. Voggs, right. Okay. So meeting him. Like, there's my first time really meeting him. And I was like, okay, what's going on with this guy? And, he's talking, he's excited, like he's getting, and I'm like, man, this kid's got me jacked up, man. I either need to drink or run. What are we doing, Slim? Like, this guy's got me motivated.
Yeah. You got to drink and run.
Right?
He doesn't know where he's going, but he's having a great time getting there.
I was kind of impressed with that cat. I was like, man, this cat, me, man, we need to just go hang out someplace. Like, it's crazy.
Well, hopefully we're going to see lots more Evil Lair projects from you. So
we have one dropping at the end of the month. Kind of made something kind of weird, but that's okay. Sometimes we're going to do weird things. So made something a little weird. We had to change it at the last minute, and I'll go ahead and give up the ghost on that. Somebody, we were joking. If you've known Cliff on comics, you know where his humor generally goes, and he was talking about restraints. And I was like, I can make chain and shackles. Yeah, that's easy enough. And then when I started making them, my team, somebody was like, during the month of June, with Juneteenth, do you really think it's a good idea to make shackles and chains? I was like,
we didn't think that through, did we?
Right.
Yeah.
And then it was either that or change it to another date, and then that just would have been a hassle. But I think I found something that was truly unique. Then just make it. If you've never made chain before, it would be the most monotonous video to make. It's linking things. It doesn't go very well to begin with, but so the fact that I got to make this other thing and kind of create this other design for something that was kind of known in that particular community, I think it's kind of unique and special. So we made it with it.
So does this creation come with a safe word?
That's not on me. I just make the stuff. I don't
Once they got it locked in, that's on them.
Bring me a freaking, spear.
Try it.
Bring me a spear. I mean, he didn't tell Remy that here, don't poke it at anybody.
No, I was just more poking fun at Cliff than anyone else.
Yeah.
Whether the woman is there or not, so whether he needs a safe word, so
right. So yeah, Joe's got to make some more weapons.
Yeah, I was thinking we got a couple of. Somebody said make a gun, and I'm like, I can do it. That's no problem.
My mind always goes different places. I was thinking the shock room from Xena.
We can make a shotguns are easy to make. I can make a shotgun. Actually,
will it come back?
No, he's talking about the circular disc thing that Zena used to throw on her show.
Yeah, he knows what I'm talking.
You talked about what is it? The one from the movie
glaive.
too. Yeah, the clay.
Yeah, I think the throwing weapons are cool.
I think those are too. I don't like the idea of a sharp object coming back at me, but I get the appeal.
Right. Well, I mean, they're just great sci-fi weapons.
Yeah, right. Just once in a movie, I don't care if it's the batarang or one of those things. I want to see somebody throwing it and it come back and just take their fingers right off. Just to tell people that it can happen.
Right?
Like Captain Boomerang or somebody. Well, I think they did that in one movie where the guy they did something and somebody else went to catch it and it cut his hands off. I don't remember what it was. It's like when Blade, I remember that too, but I don't remember it. Sword.
Mm-hmm. I gotta find it. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. Just to go, that's what I've been saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna find that.
No, but the clay thing, I've been trying to figure out how not how to do it, but what's the best way to do it. I've been thinking about that one. The gun thing, I don't know. Like I have FFLs, I can make guns, I can make ammunition, I have all the proper paperwork and stuff for that. But
see, I wasn't even thinking mechanical weapons. Just
I'm not sending that to anybody. Like I love you guys out there, but I'm not sending you.
Yeah, you can't do that. Nah.
Man, that would be a bad day in court, huh?
You should make an Iron Man suit. Boggs, man, you can't wear the Iron Man suit. It weigh like 500 pounds.
I think the first thing I ever saw that you made was my buddy here in Rochester. You had made him the Rocketeer helmet.
Rocketeer helmet.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
One of the first project was one of those the key from Kingdom of Hearts, the key swords.
Oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts, yeah.
Yeah, and a friend of mine was going to buy one at a Comic-Con. It was like PVC and foam, and I was like, "Dude, don't buy that. That's some weak shit right there." Like,
it's gonna break on you before you even get it home.
Dog, and I was like, "I'll make you one," and that's actually what's cool. That's what kicked it off because the thing weighs like a good 20 pounds. Like it's
right.
It's legit.
It's legit, and it will cut. It will destroy the pineapple.
And a unique weapon. Oh, all right, guys. Let's go around the board here. See what everyone's got coming up. Chuck, we're going to start with you tonight.
So I'm going to be over at Joe's tomorrow night showing off pickups and stuff, and then I'll be back there next week when we have the comic crowd talking about what happens to our books after we die. So, or what happens to our books after we're gone. So
Who reads them?
Yeah, it's a good question to ask. So.
Yeah, and a topic by Steve White.
That's right. So that way, if you try to catch Pocan Joe's thrown item and you miss, there's a backup plan set just in case.
Right.
All right, and Jim, what's coming up for you, buddy?
I do have an unboxing. I won a prize. I won the drawing a couple weeks ago from Only Slabs, and it was right before Heroes, and I put it down and never opened it, so maybe I'll do the unboxing of that. I do want to try to make a couple of Can You Dig It videos on some books that I'm looking at to read. I think that was fun, and I want to do that. And you know what? Since I got this, I'm going to do a short like we talked about before we came on. Yeah. I'm going to take this out of the holder, and I'm going to go put it on the ground and see what this coin rings up on my machine, because I'm kind of curious. I don't think I've found anything made of pewter before, so I want to know what it reads as. Joe says it'll probably read like lead, so maybe he's right. We'll see. I have plenty of musket balls and bullets out of lead that I can put beside it and see if he's right. So I'll do a little short of that and throw that out there.
Oh, nice.
Cool. Nice.
Right. And we'll get to Joe in a second. Coming up for me tomorrow night, I'm in direct competition with Joe and the gang. I have Cliff and John's Comics with Kids on, and we're doing a special called Top 10 Comic Storylines That Change Comics.
Nice.
Cool.
So, yeah. Good. So we're doing that tomorrow night. It changed date 3 times before we could all make it work together. So sorry, Joe. On the 25th, we have Steve the Voice White on for another 10-1-1. And then on the 27th, you've seen him twice on In the Hot Seat. But this is going to be the first time you see him on the 10-1-1, and that is Jerry the Jitterbug.
Ooh,
Love that dude.
Right.
ooh. I have to be
Yeah,
there.
so
for that one.
that'll be a super fun one. I'm really looking forward to that. I always love having Jerry on too. Jerry's just a great guy,
Yes.
and he's been a good friend ever since I met him.
Yeah.
So super. Always happy to have Jerry on. And Joe, what's coming up for you, good sir?
First off, let me say that Jerry Jitterbug, if you don't know, is a very handsome man. You should
Yeah.
watch him.
You think I personally, Joe, I think he has Dick Clark disease, like he doesn't
He
age.
doesn't age. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know he's
sure
slightly older, but he just
that's straight up legit a thing.
Well,
Yeah.
he did the face reveal, his face reveal on my show in the
Yeah.
hot seat. And
I
Jerry
remember.
came on. I think the three of us all went, "Son of a bitch."
He's making his
Listen,
look bad.
listen. Yeah. Yeah.
He just came on with that late 50s, early 60s swagger. And
Yep. Yep.
God. What do I got going on? Okay, so it's a busy week. I just dropped my my video today from Heroes Con, everything I got, plus a little walkthrough, kind of combined it this year, kind of make the visuals, a little streamier. I'm editing right now an unboxing from Ben Parker. He sent me something absolutely amazing. If you don't know, the three things that I love most in the world is hammers, whiskey, and comics. And I'll let you decide before you see the video which one he sent me.
Nice.
It's super great. And with him launching his channel today, I definitely want to say, hey guys, go check out his first video. Please. I just put the link down there for you after you're done here. Go check it out. He's got a great Heroes Con. But this isn't about him, it's about me. So I have some independent reviews coming up. We have Envy, and I got Beeswax issue number 2, the special series that I do on mine whenever somebody asks me to review their comic book. I'm going to give them my honest opinion about it, and we're going to put it out there for you guys and hopefully engage you that way. At the Evil Lair, dropping a project at the end of the month, the Fiddle Cuff for Cliff on Comics, and we may be adding something new to the Evil Lair. My daughter says, hey, I bet you I can go buy 5 things at the dollar store, and you can't do anything with them if I challenge you.
Ooh.
oh,
A challenge
on, huh?
accepted.
All right. Well, there we go.
Almost like you don't know me.
Yeah. What's she thinking?
So, and we're going to have special rules and things like that. Kind of do, I don't want to say a reality thing, but just kind of see what we can, again, build the team and figure it the hell out.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
right.
It can't be organic, though.
Yeah. So we're going to definitely do that.
Now, you said your daughter challenged you?
Mm-hmm.
How old's your daughter?
She's 25.
Okay, so all right, so she's finally took her 25 years to get up the nerve to challenge dad. Then
Yeah, apparently she has a child now, so apparently she's like, I'm a parent too, so I'm going to tell you all
right?
about the crush of this. So yeah, we're going to kind of do it as a series where we're going to kind of set up the rules at the beginning of the episode. This is what you can and can't do. Here are your items. And you have to make something in this genre of something. Now, mind you, I'm only good at weapons, jewelry, and just odd shit. So God knows what she's going to have me make.
Is she going to Chef Ramsay you and be a dick the whole time? Like,
Yeah,
that's not good enough. Get back there. You do it again.
Remember you made that chest? Didn't you make that chest one time or something?
Yeah.
For it was like a comic carrier. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was a cool one. So yeah, this is going to be different because usually I'm in charge. I always tell people if you have a suggestion for the Evil Lair, be as vague as you want because I'm going to pick the materials either way. Just because the stuff that I recycle.
Right. But how cool is it you get to do a series with your daughter though? That's neat.
Super fun. I mean, I have a grandson. My daughter's finally gotten cool with me. She's had the teenager, college age stuff. She's an adult now.
It finally came back around.
Yeah. But it's starting to be cool again because I'll buy the kid whatever. I made the kid a desk and it can't even walk. So
you got to give him something to grow into, right?
Yeah. Just go sit at your table and draw on it. Just chalkboard, paint, the whole 9 yards.
Nice.
It'll be he'll be just hit his 1 year mark, and Joe will have him out there with the acetylene torch and stuff.
Yeah, just hold the light. No, I'll do the old man holding the light thing because I had to do that. Hold the light still.
Right when you keep grabbing your hand, I said hold it here.
Hold it there.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be funny.
Keep it
you
up.
guys are coming in a little late. We had a great show with Joe. Joe, as always, dude, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this. You were the guy I had to have for this episode, so I appreciate it. And also, Joe jumps on as a guest host sometimes, so you never know when he's going to turn up.
It's like
He's one of the people in the community that has carte blanche to show up whenever he damn well pleases.
Thank you.
So,
wow, I have to pay for this gig. How do you get away with that?
I mean, had to. I haven't got my check this week.
Oh, sorry. I've got this coin. It's one of one. Just for me. That's what he told me anyway.
Using the wrong tense of that wrong verb. All right, guys. But thank you guys so much. And thank you to my co-host, obviously.
Yeah.
The show's only fun because you have great people on here. We can bust each other's balls, which is always fun. Because that's what guys do. Great audience tonight. Thank you guys for coming out to support Joe. And everyone's links are in the description below. So please go sub anyone up that you haven't subbed up. Go check out their content. Chuck even put a video out recently. So hopefully he's going to be putting some more out on his channel and getting that going. And just thank you guys so much. Thank you to the audience. And you guys know how I like to end this thing. Keep it casual.